Hey, what's going on, guys? XpertFusion here, and today I want to talk about Telltale's The Walking Dead Season 4, and in specific, the returning characters that we may or may not get in Season 4. So, one thing I was disappointed about in Season 2 and 3 is the lack of returning characters from previous seasons. We tend to just have Clementine and like maybe one or two other characters return for each season, and I kind of don't like it because it makes it feel like that season of character development between certain characters were completely worthless if they just don't come back at all, and they don't even either just don't get character deaths, or they get determinate character deaths, or they just die in a stupid way. And I feel like that's the biggest problem I have with Telltale, specifically their Walking Dead stories, is the way they kill off characters sometimes is very just like it's bad. It's bad, I'll tell you. So what I'm going to be doing is going over every single character that is still alive or can be still alive in some situation in the Telltale Games The Walking Dead universe that I feel like could possibly or not possibly come back in Season 4. I'm going to talk about the possibility of them coming back and so on and so forth. This is not including characters like Clementine and AJ, because those two characters are 125% coming back. We already know that. We saw them in the teasers, and of course saw the new characters. But we're not talking about them. We are talking about returning characters from previous seasons. So we're going to go in order, starting with Season 1 characters, going to Season 2, and lastly Season 3. We're not going to do every single character though, so don't think we're going to actually go through every character. It's just the majority of them. Starting off with Lily, which Lily was... I loved Lily, honestly. I didn't like her personality. Obviously, she was a bitch, but like I loved her character. I loved the interactions between her and Kenny and how they were always at each other's throats. Honestly, I would have much rather have her came back when Kenny was still there, because it'd be a much more interesting interaction between her and Kenny rather than her and Clementine, but I'm still all down for her to return. I think she can definitely bring some interesting things to the table. So she left, no matter what, there was no way you could have killed her. She was either you kicked her out of the group, or she came along with you and she stole the RV and left. Now, I'm not too sure if these two characters are the same, but the character Lily from the comic books, who was, had relations with the governor in some ways, but then ended up killing the governor in the end of the comics of the governor story arc, and she booked it. She was never in the comics after that, so she was still alive. So if that's the same Lily, which I assume it is, she's off on her own now. We don't know if she's alive or dead or whatever, and I think it'd be interesting to see her come back. I still do, and I think that would be such a crazy twist to see her and Clementine run into her. And honestly, Lily probably wouldn't recognize Clementine. Honestly, Clementine probably wouldn't recognize Lily, because it's probably been like 6 years, honestly. And I just think it'd be really interesting once they find out. They're like, holy shit, you're Lily from like 6 years ago. So I don't know, I think it'd be really interesting, and I really hope Lily does come back. Next up, we have Krista. Krista is if they don't bring her back, I'm going to be pissed. That's exactly how I feel about her, because we spent the whole Season 2 thinking she was going to come back. We did. Look, I don't really think she's a great character by any means. She's not like amazing. She's not that interesting. But the fact that we spent the whole Season 2, Clementine kept wondering all the time, is Krista there? Is Krista, Krista, all these type of things. And she never came back. And we're like, alright, she'll obviously come back in Season 3. She didn't. So she's got to come back in Season 4. She's got to. There is no way they can go throughout this entire thing without bringing back Krista. Like, they can't. There's no way she's dead. There's no way they would have killed her off screen. I don't believe that. So I feel like they just have to bring her back. I really do. I feel like it is their destiny to bring it back, honestly. But yeah, she's a possibility, possibly. I think they should definitely, but I don't know. Next up, we have Molly, who I believe there is a way to kill her. I do. I believe when she was getting attacked by the walker, if you accidentally shoot her, it actually just kills her and she actually dies, which is a crazy thing for in Season 1. And it's like an accident, and Lee kind of plays it off like, holy shit. I think that, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty damn sure that was a choice. I obviously didn't do it, but it well, it wasn't a choice, it was like an accident, and then that ended up being part of the story. But I really just, I don't think she's that interesting. I mean, the thing is, she doesn't have a relation, because the only characters that are gonna return are characters that have relations with either Clementine or with any of these characters that I think are gonna come back. That's it. No one else is gonna come back. Trust me, because why would a character that doesn't, actually no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, characters that know Clementine are more likely to come back. That's what I'm trying to say. I do think there will be some characters that'll come back that don't even know Clementine that well, but it just wouldn't be as necessary. You know what I mean? That's kind of what how I see it. And Molly, she didn't really have much of an impact with Clementine. Personally, I don't think Molly's coming back at all. I think she's a goner. But you know, we'll have to wait and see. Especially because I believe she's a determinate character. That kind of makes that solidified. Next up, we have the 400 Days characters, excluding Bonnie. Bonnie we're going to talk about later. But this would be Russell, Shell, Becca, Wyatt, and Vince. Those 5 characters. Okay. I was really underwhelmed to see how they were used, because I remember I heard that the 400 Days characters are going to be used in Season 2, and I was really excited. I was like, oh, that's great. And they really weren't used in a significant way. The only character that was significantly used was Bonnie, and her character happened to be my least favorite out of all of the 400 Days characters. So I really wanted to see more of Vince, Wyatt, Russell, Shell, and Becca. I want to see more of them, and I wouldn't be opposed to them coming back at all. They obviously don't have a relations with Clementine at all, but I would find it interesting to see them again just in some way, or at least follow their story to see what happened to them. Maybe 1 or 2 of them. Doesn't have to be all of them. It could be like 1 or 2 of them. It could be just Vince and maybe just Shell or something. I just want to see where they're at. I'm generally interested. So that's that. Next up, we got Arvo, your boy Arvo. So I wanted to come back in Season 3 so badly. And, okay, let's actually add all the characters. Arvo, Mike, and Bonnie. Let's just all 3 of them. I definitely predicted they would come in Season 3, and they didn't, and I was really disappointed with that. But Bonnie is a determinate character. She can be killed in a way by drowning with Luke. So I think if any character's not going to come back, it's going to be Bonnie. But Mike and Arvo, there's no way they can die. They're either alive or alive. They're just alive. There's no determinacy of Mike and Arvo, so not bringing them back would just be, it would be stupid. They gotta bring them back. They really should. I think it'd be interesting if Clementine, honestly, these characters I think should come back more than anyone, because the problems between Clem and Arvo that would arise would be really interesting to watch, especially because this is later in the future. This is like 3 or 4 years later. Clem remembering what he did. Obviously, I think Clem would drop most of it, but I feel like Arvo wouldn't. It'd be really interesting. Ooh, that's actually really cool, because we saw how Season 4 is going to be very reliant on children. It's going to be a lot of kids in it. It's going to be a very kid type of series. You know what I mean? That's what the trailers and the images were showing us. So imagine there's like a group of younger people, not all kids, but like younger people, and they're a bad group, and they're a group that may do something to Clementine, may do something to her group, may, you know, terrorize her or whatever it may be. And what if it is led by Arvo? I think that would be interesting, or at least Arvo's part of it or something. I don't know. And maybe Mike's dead. I don't know. I want one of them to come back. That's all. I think Arvo would be interesting to see come back for sure. And next up, we have the last Season 2 characters. One of them's a Season 1 character, but we got Kenny and Jane. Now, alright, you might be like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Well, I made a video on this. There is 2 separate choices that you can follow through in Season 2 leading into Season 3 that will leave Kenny and Jane alive, or, you know, vice versa, or Kenny or Jane alive, not both. You can't have both of them alive. It's one or the other. If you kill Kenny, like shoot him, and then Jane lives, and then you tell Jane to fuck off, basically, in Season 2, you don't see her at all in Season 3. You're just alone with AJ, and that's it. You don't see her in Season 3. That happens, okay? So, therefore, Jane is presumably, possibly alive, could be dead, we don't know. But there's a chance she could have lived. because we didn't see it happen. If we don't see it happen, that means it didn't happen. That's like the number one rule of storytelling, unless, or of course, the writer says they're dead. But other than that, you don't believe they're dead. They could be alive, they could be dead. And then for Kenny, if you let Kenny kill Jane in season 2, and then at the end of season 2 you go into Wellington rather than leaving with Kenny, you don't see Kenny again. So he's presumably alive or dead. We don't know. We're going to presume alive because, if you don't see it happen, it didn't happen. So, but look, that's really determinant though. That's like not many people chose that. That's why I don't think they're going to do it. But I'm just saying, if Telltale wanted to be crazy and do something amazing and make your choices really matter, they would bring back Kenny and Jane for those specific choices. I made a video on that, but yeah. So let's move on to the last characters, which are the season 3 characters, and I only put a few of them here. You got Javier, I think they gotta bring back because he's not determinate. We even played as him for a whole goddamn season, so they have to bring back Javier. They have to. Like, I will be very disappointed if we just don't see Javier. I'll be like, what the fuck? Next up, we also got Kate and Gabe. So Kate and Gabe, they're both determinant characters, but they're both very, very prominent characters. I would love to see them come back, but they're determinant. That's the problem. So I just don't know, and they're not like they're different characters. They're not like they're similar characters. It's easy to bring back determinant characters that are similar to each other, but when you have someone who's a fucking Gabe, and Kate, they're very different. They play very different roles, basically. So it'd be really hard to do that. Unless Telltale wants to be crazy, I think it's not going to happen. But I hope it will. But I don't think it will. I hope, but I don't think. So let's just go over a rundown. So who do I want to come back, and who do I think will come back? I'll split them up because I already went over all of them. I kind of mentioned them a little bit, but I'll make it specific. So in terms of who I want to come back, I want Lily, I want Krista, I want all the 400 Days characters, I want, what was her name, Kenny and Jane, I want Arvo, Mike, and Bonnie, or no, yeah, I'll take all 3 of them actually. I want Javier, I want Kate, I want Gabe, I want Kenny, I want Jane. That's what I want. But that's not what I think. What I think is completely different because I don't expect half of that to happen. What I think is we'll get Arvo, Krista, and Javier. That's honestly all I think. That's kind of all I think. Maybe Mike. That's it, really. I don't think we're going to see anybody else, but it's worth predicting about. It's worth making fun, videos to talk about it, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.